Welcome, guys. Welcome. I see you guys all coming in. George, Arlene, Melissa, Julia, Jeremy, you guys are flooding in. Hello. Welcome.
Getting some good people coming in.
Yeah, we have, the number keeps going up. We're excited to have you all today. So I'm going to give it about 30 seconds since that number is just going up really quickly, just to make sure everyone is in. So I will give it just a little bit longer, just to catch up with our virtual reality nowadays. Okay, I think the number is slowly going down to a standstill. So we'll go ahead and kickstart, guys. Welcome to everyone who is just now joining in. I do see some people are still coming. We are excited for the session today, so we don't want to waste any time. My name is Ariel Ursula. I want to formally welcome you guys to TRA Marketplace 2020 virtual online version. We're super excited to have you guys today for Hiring Techniques is the name of this webinar. I know you guys are probably used to it at this point. It is Thursday, so I hope you guys have had a great week. But the Q&A button down below here, if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to ask. We will get to them either during or at the end, so just feel free to put that in there, and if it's not answered right away, we will get to it. And I do want to welcome and thank our sponsor, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages, thank you so much for sponsoring our stage, Silicon Hills. We couldn't do it without you, and we do have a quick video for you guys.
We may be one of the world's most familiar companies, but we make more than our name suggests. We're an organic tea company, a premium juice company, a coconut water company. We've got drinks for long days, for birthdays, for turning over new leaves. And we make them for every moment in every corner of the country. We are the Coca-Cola Company, and we're proud to offer so much more.
Thank you so much, Coca-Cola. As you guys have seen, every single beginning of a day, on this stage at least, we crack open a Coca-Cola. So enjoy, guys. And I do want to introduce to you guys Brian Medina, who is the Vice President of Talent Acquisition and Strategy. He does have over 20 years experience in recruitment, advertising, and talent acquisition for the restaurant industry. So you guys are in good hands. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thanks, Ariel. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. I'm real excited to have two of some of my favorite people, Wendy Girard with the Cheesecake Factory and Angela Saunders with Grub Burger Bar, to join us and talk a little bit about what's been going on in recruiting, talent acquisition, and staffing in our industry, especially in today's times. So additionally, I'm on the board of the Greater Dallas Restaurant Association and the Texas Restaurant Association's Education Foundation. So I'm going to jump right into things and let Wendy introduce herself, and then follow that up with Angela. And then we're going to go through some questions that we think will be real helpful and insightful for you to hear what's going on from two different brands that represent our industry very well. And then we're going to take questions as they come. But overall, I'll hand it over to you, Wendy, and then Angela.
Great. Good morning. Welcome to everybody. So pleased to be with you. It's such a pleasure to be with restaurant operators and all of the professionals in the restaurant business today. I work for the Cheesecake Factory, the only restaurant brand on Forbes Top 100 Places to Work. We're really proud of that. And I am the Director of Talent Acquisition and Engagement at Cheesecake Factory. I've been in the hallway there for 15 years. But as some of you may have seen on my bio, I've spent my whole career in the restaurant business, starting out in operations at the front end of my career, and then migrating into the happy place in HR, which is talent acquisition. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Thanks, Wendy. Angela?
Good morning. Hi, Wendy. I am actually the Director of Talent Management for Grub Burger Bar. I've been here just over 2 years. I joined this company. It is a relatively startup company, about 8 years old. So I'm an army of one. So I really got to jump in and take a seat that hadn't been filled before. So it's been really fun for me. I've been in the industry over 25 years. Talent acquisition, just like Wendy, just was my passion. And that's where I've landed. And I absolutely love being at Grub.
Awesome. Well, folks, we were really excited to have these two ladies, leaders in their industry with respect to recruiting and talent acquisition, give us insight to how to navigate, what's going on right now. I'm going to jump right in because we're going to touch on some things, kind of what happened, right around March, what these companies did and how they pivot. But then we're going to kind of segue into, what they're doing now and what's on the horizon. So that's where our kind of conversations are going to go. And then we'll be open to kind of be real time if some other things pop up. So let me just put these out there. Either one of you guys can answer this or we can take turns. So when things really impacted the country with respect to the restaurant shutdowns, how did your company pivot with respect to recruiting, staffing, and retention? Wendy?
So I'd be happy to take that first, if that's all right.
Sure.
This was really devastating for everybody in our industry. And at the Cheesecake Factory, we are known for large restaurants with large menus and a big staff. So we initially said to ourselves, okay, what are we going to do? We recognized that financially we were going to have to put quite a lot of people on furlough, which we did do. We had to furlough over 40,000 staff members nationwide, which was very difficult. So from a communication standpoint and engagement, we said to ourselves, we've got to stay connected to these people because we're going to need them when it's time to reopen the dining rooms, when we figure out what we're going to do with to-go. And so we immediately instituted a couple of programs. One was that we wanted to find places for them to work. So we partnered with some of our contemporaries in the retail space and grocery. So we really just pivoted our whole recruiting team to be an outplacement sourcing team. That gave us the opportunity to talk to people nationwide. Our operations partners decided to have a family lunch every day in our restaurants and invite our staff members back in so that they could have a touch point with them every day and make sure that they were getting a great meal. So we did a limited menu in our restaurants and continued to do that until such time that we could open our dining rooms. And then we immediately looked at our business and said, how can we get to-go up and running? The Cheesecake Factory, for those of you that are fans of ours, that we do a great job with our dine-in guests. And we've had some to-go business, but it's really not our forte. So there was a great pivot there to get everything lined up so that operationally we could execute well on to-go and give our guests that great experience that they've come to know from our brand, but that we could also employ staff members in the to-go area. So we were able to then call some people back once we got to go up and running very quickly and take those individuals and employ them. And then the other thing that the company did as a huge commitment was that we did not furlough any of our managers nationwide. This is something that I felt passionate about, as did all of our other HR leaders and our executives. And so our managers, they helped run to-go. They were out in the community doing things to partner with community partners to help our staff members and our communities in their time of need. And we just kept them as busy as we could so that we could stay very connected to them. We also, on a weekly basis, had all of our managers that are over our work groups call every single one of those staff members on the roster, check in with them, see how their families were, help them navigate any issues that they might have with their medical coverage as it related to health, and just making sure that, the communication was really great.
Great. Thank you quite a bit. You all are on top of it. Angela, can you elaborate on some things that your organization did?
Absolutely. Obviously, just like Wendy, it was devastating for all of us. We all had different paths we had to take based on our business model. For us, we did have a to-go business in place. We did not close, so we just pivoted rather quickly. Really in 24 hours, our operators got that contactless curbside up and running. We expanded on our partners, our delivery partners, and we just kept going. So we never lost our management team. We did keep a few of our grubsters, that's our employees, our hourly folks, on staff in the kitchen. So that really helped us when we started opening their dining rooms back up. Obviously we did have to temporarily close 6 locations just due to different things going on. When they closed A&M, it killed us down in College Station, but we're working on getting several of those back open now. But for the most part, we just pivoted. We were small enough. You know, we are a startup company. We have 19 locations, so we were able to pivot really fast, which we did. The management team got together, who was left actually, and what we started doing, we just really honestly came up with top 5. We had to figure out how to stay in touch with the people that were wanting to come back to work. And like Wendy said, you know, we have this pool of people that we had to furlough, but we knew eventually we would get through this. Didn't think we would still be dealing with it 6 months later, but we're still in touch with them. So really our top 5, the first and foremost, it was focused on retention, keeping the managers and the staff we had, plus keeping the bench and the people who wanted to come back to our families. So it was about communication, transparency, the state of our company. You know, people wanted to know, what are you doing? Are we going to survive? You know, there was a lot of fear. And, you know, as Wendy can attest to, it was just devastating to watch what was happening to our friends and other restaurants. Rooting for you, Cheesecake. But so that was a lot of it. And then we had to take on the hats of being the experts in unemployment, in, you know, understanding what the government was, you know, the government stimulus checks and different things like this. So we became a 24/7 really call center for anybody that needed anything. Childcare issues, balance with schedules. So we're still doing that today. We have a group of us that just 24/7. Safety and health, people were working. They wanted to know they were safe. We employ some young kids in high school and their parents were very concerned. So, you know, probably in 1 week, we had a 9-page internal document rolled on how we were going to do our safety and sanitation. We were right out of the gate, 100% mask, above and beyond what CDC, and we're still doing that today. So everyone wanted to know, oh, I'm afraid of coming back. Understand that, you know, respectfully, we have people on the bench waiting to come back that just don't want to right now. This thing is still hanging on, right? Empathy. It was a lot about empathy, you know, what's going on out there and just showing them we get it. You know, I've had my days to where, you know, I just broke down. It's just really tough on our industry. If you've been in it this long, it's tough. So just letting them know we're there for you. And, you know, the schedule is at number 4. Like I said, we have a top 5 we started out with. Can they get enough hours to support their family? Is it going to be worth them coming back to work with all of the, you know, the unemployment and different things? So it was really being fair and competitive and taking care of our employees. We did not cut wages. None of our managers took a pay cut throughout all of this. We even adjusted their bonus. You know, bonus is different when you're basing it on comp sales and cash flow, right? So we just changed it to a TCI bonus so they could get something because they're used to getting something. And honestly, that human touch. I mean, I'm a hugger. I know maybe you shouldn't be, but I'm a hugger, and it just killed me not to have interaction. And so we, you know, we wanted to find out how to have a human touch with their employees, even though we couldn't be around them or hug them or we had to social distance. So we're still doing that today, is trying to find a way just to reach out and say we care. So honestly, those are our top 5 that we've been really following all along.
Great. Now, both of you guys have put some exciting things in place to, you know, show your teams that you care. So with this good communication that you guys had, have you seen how this has helped with the retention? Are you getting these people coming back as you guys are opening back up? So has these pieces of the puzzle, you know, tell us a little bit more of that retention piece, how it's, you know, what you've done is kind of assisted in here.
Yeah, you know, I think that that dialogue that we opened up with people at the most scary time in our country and in their lives during this pandemic has really helped us it sort of tailor that package for people to come back to work. As Angela mentioned, you know, some people are still very reticent to come back and work in a public-facing job where the pandemic is still very alive and real in the country. And so it's incumbent on us as employers to make sure that we make them feel comfortable about what we're doing for their safety, what the protocols are in the restaurant, and then also listening to them about what the barriers are for them to come back. It's very regional at Cheesecake Factory, we found out, based upon how the pandemic has progressed in states. So we have some, we're, you know, a nationwide brand, so we have some states where, you know, people were ready to come back, not a problem. They hadn't had a lot of COVID cases, and, you know, they felt very comfortable that it was time to get back to work. Conversely, we've had other states where it's been very difficult, Brian, to staff the restaurants, in all honesty. And it's not because the staff member doesn't want to come back and isn't loyal to the brand, but it's because for a variety of reasons related to the pandemic, you know, whether it's childcare or they have a family member that they're caring for that might be ill, or they just are scared, that they have chosen not to come back. So it has created, from a talent acquisition and an engagement standpoint, a sort of day-by-day, week-by-week battle plan situation for us and for me at the Cheesecake Factory. And I think listening and being flexible has really been paramount to our success in running our dining room business right now and our to-go business. And partnering with operators and really getting them in that sort of out of that traditional mindset to say, you know, hey, Wendy might have been somebody who worked for you full-time before. She was a designated trainer, but she can only come back 2 days a week. And we want to accommodate that. And how can we restructure schedules, and how can we share shifts between people? And it's been a good stretch for us at the Cheesecake Factory. And, you know, I have to applaud all of our operators. They've done a great job of pivoting, of listening, of talking through this. It's also meant that all the support players that support operations have equally had to be good listeners, flexible, and jump in. I mean, you know, it's been a time of learning, of listening.
Good. Angela, do you have some things to add there?
Just a couple of things. I mean, exactly what Wendy said, it's exactly would be my answer. What we are doing and we have done is, obviously at the beginning, we couldn't get to all of our locations. You know, we couldn't get across the Texas line because we would be quarantined. A lot of different things was going on at the beginning. We couldn't fly. So really that connection was crucial. So the first 3 months of this, the leadership team had an AM and PM call 7 days a week, because obviously you're watching the news and trying to find out what's going on, what we should and shouldn't be doing, percent you can have in. It was just moving so fast. So that's what we did to counter it. And then every day after the lunch, we would all of our MPs would jump on a call. We did that the first 3 months. We still talked to them once a week, but it was daily. And we gave them an opportunity to tell us what they needed. And as soon as they could get across that state line, they were out. As soon as they could fly, our CEO and COO was in Atlanta, which was our last one. It was hard to get in and out of Georgia. Georgia had some really strict laws there at the beginning. So again, back to what Wendy said, and we've said, communication on what's happening to your company, what are you doing, was crucial. So those first 3 months of doing that was helpful. We have not lost one of our managers. So because of that communication. So yeah.
And if I could also add, you know, representing a brand that's sort of seen as a blue chip company, you know, we have a unique challenge that Angela's company doesn't have as a startup, which is people want you to be transparent. They want to know what's not going right as well. And I think that, you know, when you communicate with your staff members, with your operators, even out in the public marketing with your guests, it's been okay to say, hey, you know what, we have some challenges and we're working through those. I mean, it's no surprise that Cheesecake was the first major brand to say we can't pay our rent in April. And, you know, that went through the country like wildfire, and that was okay. You know, it was okay for everybody to know we're working through it.
Good. Oh, well, yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up, but I did see that. And that was, you know, something that, you know, I was, you know, was wondering what was going on in your shoes when that was going down. But, you know, you had to educate your staff that, hey, you know, we're a business and there's certain expenses we take on, and, you know, money's not coming in. So
exactly. I mean, we had town halls nationwide, and our company president and our founder were on those calls, and people regionally were dialing in, you know, and we did just like Angela's company did, whatever we needed to do daily and continue to do to say, these are the things that are working, this is what we're learning from you, and these are the things we're still struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I think nowadays people are okay with being a little more vulnerable, and you know, businesses too, and just kind of, you know, hey, it's, you know, we're in this with you, and we need you to kind of ride side by side, and we can kind of together. Let me move forward here. We've kind of talked what's gone down, you know, in the past. So let's kind of start moving towards, you know, where we see the what's on the horizon. So as you guys have started to, call back, employees or
So sorry, I think Brian's camera froze. Wendy, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Angela, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right. There we go.
uh-oh.
Hi, Brian. Sorry, I think your camera froze for a second.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
A little reset. Sorry. So did you get some of my question?
We
did
didn't get
not.
any.
Oh, no, I was just talking to myself. Okay, sorry. No, I was going to try to say, let's segue to, kind of what's on the horizon. What are you guys doing now with respect to, staffing back up now that some of your restaurants are, having a little bit more percentage to open up, and our employees coming back. Where do you see what's coming down the pipe?
Yeah, so at Cheesecake Factory, we're sort of in this montage across the country of some restaurants that have open dining rooms at 25%, some that have 50%, and then some that are still not open, only executing it off-premise to go. And then we do have a few of our restaurants that are still closed based on, what's going on in that city and legislation and other things. So it's, again, it goes back to that communication plan. It's about saying this is where we're at, and then getting a hold of people. I think, I'm a little bit older in the industry, and love the fact that, I've seen everything from the 80s forward. Back in the old days, it was all about high touch. It was about, I want to meet you at a career fair. I want to see your face. I'm talking to you face to face. I've been in this space before we had cell phones. Imagine that. And so I really think we've gone back to needing that element of very high touch. It's that face-to-face phone call or that text conversation. And we really are marching forward in a way. It's taking more time. It's more of an investment because it's taking time. And we're actually shorter on resources in talent and some of our other departments, as we still have staff members in our support positions that are furloughed. But we're doing whatever it takes to meet that staff member where they're at and say, we care about you. You're part of our family. And this industry still has a great career for you. I think people are nervous about that. They went into this business thinking, I'll never not have a job. People need to eat. The restaurant business is vibrant, and all those things were true. And then the end of March hit, and people saw that we were vulnerable. So it's about us as leaders and owners and operations folks going back and saying, what was it about the restaurant business that made you love it? It was the interaction with your peers. It was the day-to-day, every day is different. It was the opportunity to be challenged and to learn new things and to move up through the ranks. And that's what our business has been the best at, and giving people life skills. I mean, you come to a restaurant, you learn everything there is to learn about dealing with people and interpersonal relationships and managing a business and using your own talents to influence and upsell. And all those things are still true. They're just true at 50% or 25%. But we'll be back. We'll be back on top. And I think, it's coming. So we have to send that message back that the restaurant business still is a great home for you. And that's day-to-day communications, however we have those in our companies, whether it's through our hot schedules tools, whether it's through company virtual private networks. If you're a smaller group, it might be as simple as putting together something that's personal, that's a note that you have some points in and you mail to your staff members. And then you follow that up with a phone call and a text.
Good, thanks. Angela?
Yes, I think for us, it's really two points that I look at. One, we didn't close. So we had this group of grubsters, we call our employees grubsters, that are waiting to get back. You know, when can I come back? So we're watching the sales. And we have this bench. We really do have this bench of folks that want to come back and work for us. They are watching what we're doing. We're communicating with them. We're FaceTiming with them. We're texting them. When we first started bringing people back, when we first opened our dining rooms to different percents, I was talking to anyone that we were bringing back that had worked with us before, because it's a different world. If you didn't work through it and you've been at home for a couple of months or maybe 6 weeks, very different. Your job looks very different. So I jumped in and was talking to some of our key folks that were coming back and explaining to them and easing their mind. Again, what Wendy said, that human touch. So I was FaceTiming. I just started FaceTiming, was walking around. My husband was like, well, who are you talking to now? But it was just anyone that I could talk to ease their mind and to be another person. So we do have a bench. We have been fortunate in that we have a bench. But I never stopped hiring. I never turned off ads. Our career page, we have that wonderful text feature. We still were collecting people. Every now and then I would go in. If there was a surge, I'd reach out and say, hey, we're close, hang in. And then I would invite them back. And so, you know, we're fortunate that when we do place ads or start that push or reach out to some of those folks, they're coming in. Doing a social distancing interview, we have a lot of things out there that's working for us. I will say this, I have seen a lot of new people come to the restaurant industry. You know, a lot of other industries have been hit as well. So we're seeing some folks that are coming in that have never been, but we're asking, you know, what struck your interest? And they're like, well, we see what Grub is doing. We see the safety measures. We see some of your messaging. I just kind of want to check it out. I'm not really sure, but I need to work. So we are talking to everyone, you know, and I am an army of one. We don't have a big staff here. So it's really partnering with their operators and doing whatever I can to help them get people in the door. We're staffed up right now, pretty good with some folks there. I know that sounds fortunate, but I feel pretty fortunate that we've got a good message out there right now.
Well, you mentioned the text piece. I think that's great because a lot of folks, you know, candidates might just be kind of sitting dormant in your applicant tracking systems or, you know, in your inbox, if you will. The fact that you know, at least giving them a courtesy that, you know, hey, we appreciate you communicating with interest here, you know, that's showing like you care. So I think that's important right now. So kind of segueing there. So what have you changed in your recruitment marketing message for, you know, when you need to kind of, you know, ramp up? What are you planning to do, or what have you kind of done? You know, both of you kind of elaborate on what you're doing to kind of give a peace of mind to, you know, again, people that have kind of left one restaurant, maybe come to your restaurant, or these other folks that are other industries that you want to potentially come work for you guys.
Yeah, so one of the things that we did, unlike Angela, you know, we didn't have any open positions until recently, because we were pulling people back from furlough. So now that we have markets where we have not been able to fully staff the restaurant, and we do have advertisements out there nationwide, we're letting people know that this is a safe place to work, what safety protocols are in place. I think that's really important. The staff member wants to know that. And then we're also really telling that employment branding story about why Cheesecake Factory is a great place to work. Again, reinforcing the tenets of the restaurant industry and why people should come and spend their time and build their career with us. And I think that we haven't been able, Brian, to do our in-house career events, which Cheesecake Factory's always been very successful with. We decided there was much too much risk for that, and it wasn't the right message. So it has taken us partnering with operations to put a little bit more manpower in some of our restaurants so that we can have those one-on-one social distancing interviews. We're not having the big career events where we're hiring people, you know, 15 at a time anymore. And we're being really safety conscious and cognizant of that individual's concerns about, you know, being in our environment and making sure that it's safe. And I think telling the story too, again, of the things that we're listening and learning from our staff members is important in our ads, and we're endeavoring to do that as well.
Good. Angela, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, for me, it really was leveraging technology, partnering with marketing. Obviously, it's a social world. So, we had our COO out there in mass doing videos. I mean, kind of quirky little videos, but we were talking about here's the experience now, walking in, here's what we're doing. So, visually, we had so many hits on that, but we were trying to use the technology to show what we were doing. And so if you look back, and they're still out there, you can see some of our early videos. It's interesting though, the very first video was very early on, and it was before mask was even talked about. It was surfacing, so it's still out there, but he wasn't wearing a mask, and then you see the mask come in. So it's just interesting how this whole thing has played out. But I will say we use that in our messaging. If you look at the different pieces that we've had, if you look at our social media, marketing became very practical at the very beginning. We didn't think it should be, tongue-in-cheek, kind of quirky like it was. It wasn't funny, to be honest. So we really tailored that down, and you can see the practicality rolling out the quarantine kits and whatever. It was really more about here's what we're doing. Here's the safety measures. You can see the virtual hugs we were doing and things. And then it picked up. We hired a new director of marketing. We have to get back to some sort of normacy here. So we pulled it back in to be a little bit quirky. So for the messaging part, I think having that technology there, having those text features and things like that helped us to stay in touch. I just was texting everyone. I will say this though, and I think Wendy can attest to this as well. I think it was very moving for us that have put our career in this industry when everyone, a lot of people outside of our industry even, were doing that rally cry. We've always been there for you, for your celebrations, for your anniversaries. Now be there for us. I mean, I still get a little bit chills. I'm not trying to go down that path here, but it was to see that rallying and that social message out there from all angles. It just kind of helped you get in there and dig in and say, we're going to make it through this. The restaurant industry is super resilient, and we're just trying to use everything we can. We're trying to be very respectful of, Cheesecakes of the world and everyone else who is in this battle with us, and work together. I'm rooting for Cheesecake and everyone else, to be honest. So I think it's messaging. To get to my point, it's just people have shared that message for us, and we do appreciate that.
Good, thank you. I'm going to check over here in the questions area real quick. I want to kind of address a question that's come in. Let's see. Let me see if I think it's, go back here. Maritza Sanchez, she was saying, let me kind of get the gist of it here. We made sure to lay out all the policies and procedures. Luckily, our employees are, have all accepted their recall, and it seems to be the consensus. I'm trying to see if I got a question in here. Let me see. Okay, wait. How do we find quality employees when many are home collecting money without physically working? I don't think it's a safety issue, but when many are being paid not to work, makes it hard for us to get the people we need. So I think that's kind of something we've all been talking about. So can you guys expand on what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm going to agree. That's definitely been a component of something that we're dealing with in talent acquisition at the Cheesecake Factory. Our operators are frustrated. And I think that, everyone in our industry was thinking, okay, CARES will be over at the end of July and the floodgates will open and staff members who want to come back to work will come back to work. And in all honesty, I haven't seen that in some of our harder to fill markets. So if they were hard before COVID to fill, they're still hard to fill. I think that's why the messaging of what our brand stands for, who we are, and what we're going to do to develop people is so important, because we may not be able to capture or recapture some of those people that were at home and found that their assistance was more money than they were making in our industry. At some point, I do believe that they will circle back because they'll miss what they get from the industry. And so we'll be ready to open our arms and accept them back. But it's about that new individual that Angela talked about, that's dipping their toe in the water and saying, hey, you know what? I was working in a manufacturing environment and I got laid off. And that's an interesting discussion, because we can attract them as talent operators, but what we need to do is work with our operations partner to make sure that we have the money and we have the time to train them. It's just, in my mind, paramount that in our business right now, we are willing to take on some people that don't have experience and say, you know what, we have world-class training programs. We're confident that we can make you a great busser, a great host cashier, a great server, a great line cook. Because as we had pre-COVID, there's a component of our sourcing now where we have areas of the country that, you know, we won't fill those jobs unless we attract new eyes and then we're willing to invest in them.
Yeah, I agree with Wendy on that. And I do think that we do have some folks that, you know, we've dealt with that don't really want to come back yet. And I think it's just not judging that and understanding, okay, if something's going on in their situation. There's also the childcare factor too. You know, if we come back to work and I have to put my child in childcare, whatever's going on, there's a lot of different factors out there. So for us, it's having an ear, listening. We do have folks that have said blatantly, I want to come back, but I can't because I'm due another check and things like this. So we just have to understand that, keep them keep them on the bench. And when we do open up, welcome them back. That's definitely the first thing that we are going to do, is just stay in touch with them and understand every situation's different. So I think it's no judgment. I remember at the beginning calling one person back, a manager, and he wouldn't mind me. I'm not going to say his name, but he wouldn't mind me. But he was juggling some things, and he just said, you know, I think I'm going to just wait it out and not come back because I am making more than I can. I know there was an opportunity for me to be promoted, which there was. You know, all this was going on, and we're just like, hey, we get it. You know, we totally get it. And he texted me last week, and he's like, how y'all doing? I mean, it's really just, again, that human touch, staying in touch, because it's going to happen. But I believe, like Wendy believes, there's going to come an end to this. You know, my grandmother always said the storm won't last forever. Well, boy, this one's ridiculously hanging on, but it will change. Unemployment will change. You know, the benefits will change. COVID will change. You know, it's coming. It's just hanging around longer than all of us expected. So treat people with respect, understand everybody's situation, continue talking to everyone that applies, continue sharing your message, and they will come back, you know. And like I said, I'm getting a lot of people now, which is interesting but great, that have no idea about our industry. They've just seen what's Grub about. What are y'all doing? So I'm calling them going, well, here's what the restaurant industry is about. So there's a lot of talking. I get hoarse a little bit, but that's just what we have to do right now to get our message out. That's my 2 cents on that. It's just that there's no magic bullet. I wish there was.
I think what you guys just shared is kind of your plan going forward. You know, how you're going to be staffing back up. You know, there's several pieces of the puzzle. You know, we don't know what's the secret sauce here, but it's just a matter of, you're going to have to try lots of different things. And, you know, we're seeing it as we're helping folks, you know, try to ramp back up. You know, it's challenging. We're seeing high volume of applicant flow, but then, you know, still, you know, high volume of no-shows. You know, we're helping a group in Houston, and it's crazy. Over 700, you know, applications, resumes came in, and, you know, we're, you know, getting scheduled folks to come and see this client, and it's just, you know, no-show after no-show. So, you know, we're putting different pieces in place. You mentioned text. Angela, you use it. Wendy, I know you use text to some degree. Do y'all feel like that's kind of helping for kind of to reduce no-shows? Is that something you would advise in today's times of recruiting and talent acquisition, if a restaurant isn't using some other communication tools, you know, with their phone, or like you said, Angela, FaceTime? Or what are some of the technology tools you guys would maybe recommend as these folks try to ramp back up and be kind of innovative in connecting with this candidate pool?
Yeah, we've been using texting at Cheesecake Factory really for the last 3 years. 80% of the connections that we make with applicants in the hourly space and the management space are all over text. It gives us the opportunity to have that high touch feeling and meet people where they're living on their phones. So, you know, and the beauty about text is if you're a small business with, you know, maybe a couple of locations, you know, you can buy track phones, give them to your managers, and that way, you know, you're meeting all of the issues and legalities around people using telephones. We even have that approach in some of our regions at Cheesecake Factory. And then if you're a larger enterprise company, you know, there's lots of companies out there that have solutions from chatbots to text programs. At Cheesecake Factory, we were early adopters of Text Recruit. It's been great for us. But yes, I don't know, honestly, how anybody's having that personal connection without texting.
Yeah, we use text. All of us use text. And right before this hit, we had rolled out some new interviewing techniques and so forth. And one was, here's what you can and can't say. It was a training, online training or e-learning on how to use text, what you can and can't say, because you are putting text in writing, sending it out. I mean, that's my HR hat coming on here. So we coached and taught them how to handle the text. Yes, it's okay to text. When I was interviewing folks to come back, you know, we wanted that bartender to be front and center. We have a full service bar right when you walk in. I was just FaceTiming. I wasn't asking if you wanted me to FaceTime, but they were texting back and forth and I just hit FaceTime. I can't give you a percent, but maybe 50% or so would pick it up. Curiosity. Who's FaceTiming me? And I don't know. So I would be like, hey, how you doing? I'm Angela from da-da. So I think technology, however you can use it, is going to be great. And then teaching the frontline folks who are there that, yes, you can do it. Here's how you do it. Here's how you can do it with your personal phone, maybe just different tips. So we have training on how to do that already. It rolled in January. So I went back and said, okay, just text recruit, go in there every day and check to see who's in there. It's very easy to do. It's just really coaching your team how to do it too. Because like Wendy said, staff, I'm an army of one. You know, we still have 19 operating locations. I can't call everyone back, but I'm certainly in there trying. So it's just coaching them on how to use the technology too. Because some people are like, oh, I should be texting. Well, here's what you can say and here's what you can't say.
Good. Well, it sounds like you put some good protocols in place.
Yeah.
Wendy, did you have another thought?
I was just going to add that, you know, the great thing about texting tools is they keep your operators in front of the guest instead of on the phone, which is great.
Yeah.
I want to point out some things over here in the chat bot or the chat aspects. It's been great to see, I mean, our participants sharing ideas. So thank you everyone for, you know, providing some feedback. So one thing here, Natalie Duncan, she shared, Topgolf is seeing great results with operators using text. Many use the free Google Voice to protect their number and get much quicker responses and engagement. And then one other person shared, Sharice Sharp, she mentioned, and I want you two to expand on this, she mentioned associate referrals. With referral bonus, helps when looking for candidates in this environment with unemployment pay, safety concerns and all. So, you know, what have you guys done, or what advice can you give others out there, you know, if they're big or small, regarding, you know, referral bonuses? Are you guys implementing something like that, or have you always had that, or where do you think this might be a piece of the puzzle going forward?
Well, we've had it and we never stopped it. So, you know, I just paid out yesterday a management referral bonus. So we never stopped it, but I also know that it's whatever's going on within your four walls is the best referral. So if the employees that we have are taken care of and we're, you know, executing our top 5, like I mentioned, they're going to bring their friends back, their rehires. If you know anything about Grub, a lot of groups work together. We hire, you know, some younger folks and they want to work with their friends. So we were doing like buddy programs and things like that. So if the ones that are comfortable working or their parents will let them work are very comfortable, they'll bring referrals back. So we never turned it off. We kept it going. We just reminded them about a month ago, hey, this is still out there. We are still working. We're still operating. We're still making some money. You're going to have to use a little bit to keep these referrals. So I do think it goes back to Restaurant 101 of just having a really good operations inside your 4 walls that will bring the referrals in. That's what we've been doing.
Wendy,
Yeah, agreed. I would say that, you know, we still have a lot of referrals at Cheesecake Factory as well. One of the things that is a different component that's been important at Cheesecake Factory is rehires. So we did go back and market to people that were had worked for Cheesecake Factory. Our goal was to find people that we would, you know, not have to put as much of an investment into the training in some of our markets where maybe we really needed to augment the staff quickly. And so we went back through our databases, our ATSs, bumped those up against the people that had left us to move on to other opportunities and messaged them and said, hey, you know what, you were part of our family, come back. And we have definitely seen a large recapture of rehires. So that might be something that all of our friends in the business that are on the line here, you know, if you're not currently doing that, I would say that that could be a great resource for you as you look to re-engage staff members that already have skills that all you have to do is refresh.
Great. Well, I want to just say we're kind of in the home stretch or right at the finish line, folks. It's great to see that all these participants still have hung with us and engaged in the chat and have stuck around to hear your messages and insights. We can't thank you two both enough. Everyone that participated, please connect with Wendy and Angela via LinkedIn. They're great advocates for our industry. That they love to network. They do so much, and I'm just, my heart is warm because of what they've committed to our industry and to this this session today. Ariel, you want to close us out?
Yes, and I definitely echo what Brian's saying. Thank you, Wendy and Angela, so much. Definitely, guys, there's a lot of great stuff in the comments, and thank you guys for posting that, whoever did. So feel free to screenshot that. I do think a lot of that is good to just have and to review. But outside of that, we are done with today's session. Thank you all so much, and thank you, Brian, as well. On this stage, we do have an 11 a.m. It's going to be Restaurant Tech You Need Right Now is the topic. So feel free to tune in. That will be in just about 30 minutes. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day at Marketplace. Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.